Welcome back from break. This short video will go over the skills you need to successfully complete your brief research. In case you forgot, I'm your Lexis Rep, Shivangi Pandya. Let's dive right into your training. You may remember last semester we started all of our research by asking ourselves 3 questions. What do I have to know? What do I want to know? And what do I not want to see? Today I'm going to add one more question to this rotation. What do I already know? In looking through the materials provided, it's clear you've been given quite a few facts on this civil rights issue. You've been given the statute and at least a couple of cases to get you started. While this is a great start, it can be really helpful to start your research with a term search and then use the information provided to ensure that your research is complete. For this training, we will only go over one search. Keep in mind, in order to successfully complete your brief, you must run multiple searches with multiple terms. While you might find quite a few cases with just one search, running multiple searches ensures that you have done your due diligence and there are no other cases out there to be found. If you have questions on running multiple searches, be sure to reach out to your Lexis reps. You'll find their information on your lawschool.lexis.com homepage. Let's start with the search. In reading the materials, many terms jumped out at me, but I started my search with fair housing and acquisition. I used fair housing because it answers the what do I have to know question. And I used acquisition to answer the what do I want to know question. You might be wondering why I didn't use the term post-acquisition. The answer is simple. Different courts spell post-acquisition in different ways, some with a hyphen, some without. By keeping a broad search for acquisition, I ensure that I'll get all the cases that discuss post-acquisition and won't unnecessarily limit the materials I might need. When I use the AND connector, fair housing and acquisition, I'm ensuring that I'm finding cases and materials that have both terms in them. So if it doesn't have fair housing or it doesn't have acquisition, it will not show up in my search results. Without further ado, let's press search. Don't forget, we always start our research with secondary materials. Use the drop-down on the left to select secondary materials and then filter to what you like. I prefer to start with treatises, so under my category filter, I select treatises. 358 is still too many treatises to review. So I'm going to use additional filters to narrow this down even more. First, I'm going to select jurisdiction and select a federal treatise. From here, I'm going to take a look at what sources are available to me in the treatise filter. As I use the drop-down, I can see there's sources related to banking law, federal rules of evidence, and as I go down this list, civil rights action jumps out at me. Considering this is a civil rights case, civil rights actions seems like a strong place to start. In reviewing these 4 materials, I immediately see post-acquisition claims. With just a few minutes and just a few clicks, I'm able to find secondary materials on point. It is that easy to find material on Lexis. Let's dive into this secondary material. Now that I'm in my treatise, I need to read it. First, don't forget that the treatise is going to give you the essential background material you need to understand the core issues in your case. In addition, these green arrows are footnotes that can lead you to additional case law that might be helpful. Don't forget to use a strategy we discussed last semester. Open cases in a new tab, create a new folder, select create new folder, fair housing to review, press create, and press save. Now, anytime you open a new case to save to a folder, just select your folder button, save to fair housing to review, and that case will be there. Don't dive into the case right away, or you're going to lose your place in the secondary material that you were reading before. I'm just going to close out of this, and I'm going to go back up to my secondary material and finish what I'm doing. Finish what you're doing every time so you don't have to restart any material. Once you're done reading this treatise, keep in mind there's other secondary materials you can go to. I'm just going to select the back button on my browser. I'm just going to clear all my filters. I can press the clear button on the right to get rid of them quickly. Check out the law reviews and jurisprudences that might be able to help you. I will tell you there are a number of fantastic law reviews on this topic, which are worth your time and energy to read. Since your professors have kindly given you the statutes at issue, you could simply type them in, but for the sake of consistency, let's use our drop-down to select Statutes and Legislation from our original search. From this page, we know we're looking for the United States Code. So from the Category section, select More and select Codes. In scrolling down, you should pretty quickly see the statutes that are at issue. Both of them are going to be available fairly quickly when you review these results. For today, let's just select 42 USCS 3604, Discrimination in the Sale or Rental of Housing and Other Prohibited Practices. Just like with secondary materials, it's absolutely crucial that you read the statute at issue. You may have found that there's only a portion of the statute you need to worry about for your brief. Keep that in mind for when we shepardize a little later on. Once you've read the statute itself, you can scroll down and continue to review the history of the statute. Oftentimes there are some nuggets of information that will be helpful in writing your brief. Next, review the notes to decisions. To recap, the notes to decisions are the subcategories for which the statute has been cited. Section 3604 is a huge statute with a number of different applications. You can search the notes manually, or since no one has that kind of time, use the Control F button on your keyboard and start typing in acquisition. I'm just going to scroll down, and I can start to see specific cases that discuss post-acquisition conduct. Once again, open cases in a new tab, and save it to your Fair Housing to Review folder. Close out of it, and continue doing what you're doing. In the interest of time, we are not going to go over the second statute in this video, but the process is largely the same. Instead, I'm going to go back to my search results and select cases from the drop-down. From here, it's time to start filtering by court. For your brief, you will likely need to look at U.S. Supreme Court cases and Sixth Circuit cases. Don't forget, depending on what your professor says, you might want to use the little plus sign to distinguish between Court of Appeal cases, District Court cases, or Bankruptcy Court cases. For today, I'm just going to select Sixth Circuit at large so you can review the results. From here, it's time to make some executive decisions. Review the cases you've already been given in your brief materials. This is a really great place to start. Open cases that might seem helpful to you, review the summary and head notes. If they're helpful, save that case to your to-review folder. If not, don't waste your time and move on. Don't forget to look at the Shepards Signals. Lexis is not going to hide why we have a signal available to you. Right next to the case, we'll have the reason for Shepards signal. It's going to tell you in this specific instance that this case was affirmed in part and reversed in part. In case you've forgotten, here's a quick recap of Shepards. A red stop sign next to a case may mean that the case was overruled, either by another case or turned on its own appeal. It may mean, like this one, a case has been overturned in part, but another part is still good. It may also mean that a case has been superseded by a statute. What a red stop sign does not mean, however, is that you cannot use it. You absolutely must do your due diligence, and if you ignore red stop sign cases, you are doing yourself and your clients a disservice. A yellow triangle means that another court has distinguished itself from your case, and a green plus sign will tell you that another court has followed the line of reasoning in your case. If you need a longer training on Shepards, please reach out to a Lexis associate. I'm going to open this case in a new tab. Like I said before, make sure you read the case summary and the head notes to make sure that this is a relevant case to you. Once you find a case that is helpful to you, you have to press Shepardize this document in order to see the treatment of this case. Remember, when you press Shepardize this document, You're going to be pulling every case that has ever mentioned yours. You may need to use the limiting filters on the left again to ensure that you're looking at the material that you need. Don't forget, Shepards is not a one-time deal. You must Shepardize every case that you want to use, every single case. While there's no hard and fast rule to tell you that you're done with your research, if you start to see the same cases over and over, it's a good sign that you're almost there. Don't forget, I said it once and I'll say it again. You cannot just run one search and be done. In order to effectively research, you're going to have to run multiple searches with multiple terms to ensure completeness. I'm going to give you 2 more quick tools to help you with your research. First, let's pull up our statute. Since you only need a small portion of the statute, you can Shepardize by subsection. From the statute, select Shepardize this document, and from the top, select Subsection Reports by specific court citation. From here, you can look through these different citations to find the one that's most relevant to you. You can start to use your court filter to find cases that are in your circuit that have Shepardized the exact subsection that you need for your brief. This is a great way to quickly narrow down your results to find more cases. One more tip. Let's start from a fresh research page. Let's rerun the search we ran earlier today, fair housing and acquisition, and press search. From here, we're going to filter to our court, and select the Ravel View button that you can see here on the right. Keep in mind, it's those little bubbles, and if you hover over it, it says Ravel View. I'm going to click into this view in order to show you what I'm looking at. Ravel View will graphically present the top 75 results from your search. Each circle represents one case. The lines connecting cases indicate that there's some sort of citing relationship between the case in your results list. The line colors represent the Shepards treatment. So, for example, green is a positive treatment. The overall view shows how case results are connected in 4 ways. First, the larger the circle, the more times that case has been cited. Second, along this axis here, you can see where these cases have been cited in time. On this vertical axis, you can see that this is listed from highest court to lowest court. And finally, by relevance. The higher the circle is in this swim lane, the more relevant it is. So you can use Ravel View to help ensure that your research is complete. First, by starting with the cases that have been cited the most, the largest circles, and then clicking to see the relationships between other cases. Ravel View is a great way to ensure that you're on the right track with your research, but it doesn't take away the need to read and review cases on your own. Remember, Lexis is smart, but it's not smarter than you. Most of you know that I'm on maternity leave, but if you have questions, don't hesitate to reach out to your Lexis reps on campus. They've all been trained on this issue and will provide you as much help as they can if you're having trouble. Please email them individually to make an appointment. You can find their contact information through this grid, going to LexisNexis for law schools, and selecting their name to get their email addresses. Please email them individually to make an appointment so they can help you at a time that works for both of you. Good luck!